Hey guys, today the topic, neediness is making you unattractive. Neediness, sounds ridiculous in the first moment and I just shake my head, depending on who takes the word in his mouth, but if you look at what is meant by it, it describes everything that we have to do something against here on the channel, to be able to lead a self-determined life. And not to have to give anything more to the opinion of others. If you depend on getting a certain thing and the world will end for you if you don't get it. Yes, what do you think happens then? Do you remember when you didn't have your homework in school in the past and you were afraid that you would be called out? What you are afraid of will cause more and more stress in you over time and will get worse and worse until it really happens. And it will happen. Self-fulfilling prophecy. You attract what you fear because it makes you behave differently. In a negotiation, the strongest position always wins and gets the most benefit. Do you go into a negotiation afraid that too little may come out for you or that if you don't get what you want, well, what exactly will happen? You will be unhappy for the rest of your life? And yes, I equate a negotiation with the whole relationship construct and attraction between a man and a woman. It's actually a pretty good comparison because the side we're negotiating with, the woman, always wants the best possible deal for herself. And how do you increase your chances in negotiations? Right, by not depending solely on one option and by having more to offer than the other. But let's start at the beginning. For you, it is always important to see when you meet interest and when you meet rejection. Those two things and a general understanding of what makes the other person tick should be the basis for everything you do. And a no is a no, whether spoken or acted upon, and there is nothing wrong with that. I mean, everyone has their price, but if it is so exorbitantly high that a relationship would degenerate into work, it is only worth it to a limited extent and will ultimately end with one of you two no longer being satisfied. Always see it that way in advance. I've said it before in another video of mine, dating is qualification. Not only from you, but also from your counterpart. What does she actually have to offer you, besides a pretty smile and the feeling that she might trigger in you? Does she give of herself as willingly as you do? Or is she only asking because she thinks you are just like all the others who offer everything they have and hope to be taken, although the whole thing is actually worth nothing? You have to approach it with this attitude from the beginning. Find out a value for you personally and don't invest too much, at least not too early, in something you know too little about. Of course it can work out, of course it is nice to fall in love, but the phase ends, and if you hope for more than it really is. We have all fallen with it once. And if then everything should fit? Why not give everything? Yes, I never said that. You should give everything, but within your frame. You should generally sit down and make things clear to yourselves that make up a real, autonomous, serious man for you. Nothing material, but values that make him so. And then define this frame. This frame in which you act and do not go beyond it. These principles that you want to follow in order to become so. Because if you have one of those, sooner or later you won't act in a way that can cause a short-circuit reaction or fear in you. You become what you want to become in the construct that you have created for yourself. Every step you take should be in that direction. Sure, you run on the spot from time to time, but you don't get off this path at all. And no other person, woman or man, can make you do that. If you have the mindset, other people first have to enter your frame and accept it and go into advance to be accepted by you. This makes it so much easier for you to look at the big picture and not be guided by the fear of not being accepted yourself. You are steering your situation and your environment in a direction that you will find stress-free. And you know that no matter what happens, it will continue in the end. And only you are responsible for it. Nothing is worse than acting against what you feel is right. If you have visualized and recorded this for yourself, then it is also easier for you not to decide according to your gut feeling or your head and to switch back and forth between the two again and again. What does this have to do with neediness? Quite simple. I have just given you the tools you need to stop fighting desperately for what you want. Then take the desperately out of the equation and be a little more the man you want to be every day. Because anything else will make you a less attractive negotiating partner. Insecurity, not knowing what to offer or selling yourself short just to make it easy for her. Asking, begging, and pleading when no has been said. No to you, no to your relationship when you are abandoned. It all makes you look in the worst possible light, and depending on how much you let it surface, yes, you really are desperate. But again, look at it as a negotiation. The more you try to put no into perspective and fight it, the more forcefully you will have it hurled back at you. Instead, stand up and say, yes, well, I understand. I would have liked to do business with you, but then I'll just look around somewhere else. Somewhere else I can get what I want on my terms. That's a position at eye level, a position you can respect and think to yourself, okay, apparently I misjudged his value, or it's simply a personal assessment of your own tastes. And tastes are individual, arguing against them is just as useless as arguing against feelings. To be able to convince someone of yourself requires that he sees what we can do and have to offer. Simply telling him or her and, in the worst case, after a no, trying to enumerate why she is wrong. That just expresses how much we depend on what she has to offer. And that increases her value and depresses yours. The further apart these two things are in your minds, the less likely it is that she will ever want you. Because the basic requirement that a woman can love you is always that she can respect you. Each of us wants to be able to rely on his partner. Wants to be supported and enjoy his closeness. There it brings you nothing if you show that you behave like Gollum, only want his treasure, only live for it, only squat in a cave and eat raw fish. Instead, act like someone who knows full well that she is the prize of this negotiation. And if she doesn't want you and doesn't show it, it's her loss. I know that's easy to say now. When the situation is there, it's hard not to act the way we're used to. That's why things I advise in no contact are actually something you should do at all times. Make a plan to improve yourself in every aspect of your life. If the ex breaks up with you, it's only the best time to start, but even if you have her back, if you don't have anyone right now, if your marriage is happy and has been that way for 30 years. There are no excuses to rest on what you have. That doesn't make you attractive, and if you ever get into a situation where you have to approach a relationship, negotiation or anything else, at the latest then you will realize that you never learned to put aside your neediness and you will be overwhelmed by the situation. Even if you know exactly what I just told you. This must become a habit. You must be used to knowing what you are worth. Then you will reflect that to the outside world. Always stay within your frame. Fix it when you don't need or want anyone. Thereby it is only about yourselves. Then you will automatically attract people who make it easy and stress-free for you to spend time with them and enjoy it. Take care and see you in the next video.